Your guy, Shedeur Sanders, your guy. Now we find out today, not only was he arrested for doing 101 miles an hour just after midnight on Tuesday in Cleveland, he had been arrested a couple days prior to that on another speeding charge and was wanted for being a no-show in court. I guess the rules are very different for Shedeur Sanders than they are for anybody else in society. Anyhow, now he's got 2 traffic citations, but he's doing 101 in a 60 zone on Interstate 71 just outside Cleveland in the community Strongsville. I lived in Strongsville. My condominium, I could look right on Interstate 71, so if I'd been standing on my balcony at 12:42 in the morning, I probably would have seen Shedeur go by at 101 miles an hour. What are you doing? What are you doing? So Shedeur Sanders got problems off the court. Now we found out this morning that's the second speeding violation in a span of a couple of days. Dude needs to be more mature, handle his business off the field better. LA Rams, they've tried really hard to make a deal to get Pro Bowl cornerback Jalen Ramsey. The deal's hit a stone wall. The problem, he's got $48 million left in the final 2 years of his contract in Miami, and the Rams are willing to trade a draft pick to get Ramsey, who's 31 years of age, get him for the final 2 years, but they're not willing to take on the contract. They want Miami to pay a chunk of the contract or Ramsey to agree to take a pay cut to make the trade go through. The thing has kind of hit a stone wall. Baltimore, pretty good acquisition. Can they keep this guy on the field? His name is Jair Alexander, Pro Bowl cornerback, Green Bay. He's had injuries 3 straight years. Packers decided to cut him loose. Couldn't keep him on the field, didn't want to pay him anymore, so he was let go. He signed a 1-year discounted deal to go to the Baltimore Ravens. You look at the depth chart, Baltimore's secondary is unbelievable, led by Marlon Humphrey and Kyle Hamilton. This might be the best secondary in the NFL. Now they get Alexander, but Alexander has to prove he can stay on the field totally healthy. And Houston, they believe in second chances. This guy once upon a time was a really good football player at Ohio State. He got to Las Vegas and he got in trouble. Last time we saw him was a picture on the internet of Damon Arnett with guns and weapons threatening to shoot somebody in a parking lot. He was out of football. He was in prison. He's been released from prison. Houston's going to give him a second chance. He's a really good talent, but this guy's priorities are way off the track. Typical John Bleepin Gruden draft pick. Boy, did he leave a mess behind there when they finally got rid of him. But that's what's going on in the NFL. I told Shedeur not to have the Lamborghini come from Boulder, Colorado to Cleveland. Now dude's doing 101 down the highway. Amazing.
Yeah, Coach Prime needs to have a talk with him. Nothing good happens after midnight. We already know that, because we've got gray hair. We've been through that. At least I have. But at any rate, I want to talk about the Ramsey thing with the Rams. He was on the Rams like a few years ago.
Left as a free agent.
Oh, okay. That's what I was wondering, is I thought maybe did they trade him away and now they want him back, but he left as a free agent. So, okay, that makes sense. Yeah.
So they're going to have to figure out a way from a salary cap standpoint, because Miami, they don't want him. It's a mutual agreement. You can leave, but he's owed $24 million this and next. Rams don't want to take on $48 million. They've kind of looking at Miami saying, hey, here's your problem. Solve your problem by paying a piece of the $24 million, and then we'll make a trade for a draft pick. Has not happened yet.
It seems in every sport, you have a contract almost all the time. The old team has to pay part of the freight. Yep. I think this Raf Devers one might be one of the exceptions.
Yep. Well, he's not an old player, but obviously he's got a track record of issues and attitude.
Yeah.
No doubt he's a great player.
Oh,
okay. The Buss family has owned the Laker franchise since 1979. We all know what Jerry Buss meant to the NBA and what he meant to the LA Lakers. The Lakers became Showtime. The Lakers became the stopping point for every great player of that era, 70s into the 80s, into the 90s. Lakers 12 championships along the way during the Buss era. Jerry passed on. His family, led by the daughter Jeannie Buss and the sons, took over operation of the franchise. They struggled early on. Jeannie finally gained full control, had her brothers removed from the operation, has run a decent franchise. Jeannie Buss equals Phil Jackson, success, Shaq, Kobe, etc. Jerry West, last great general manager, but he left because of the decisions Jeannie Buss made. And then all of a sudden, it became Dysfunction Junction. Do you know, with all the trophies they have in their office window, that look down on the practice facility, and John, it's really impressive. With all those gold NBA trophies, they have only one championship in 13 years under the Jeannie Buss operation. They've had only 6 winning seasons in 13 years. They've had change after change after change in general manager, and obviously roster turnover. The question is LA Laker basketball a destination point any longer? Might be right now. Mark Walter from TWG, big global investment firm, bought controlling interest. I'm told 66% of the stock from Jeannie Buss. She will continue to be the representative on the board of governors to the NBA on behalf of the Lakers. But Mark Walter runs the Dodgers. We know what Dodger baseball has become. All those first place finishes, World Series rings. We know the Dodgers, record payroll. The Dodgers, Shohei Ohtani. And what the Dodgers have done in terms of commitment to things in the community, plus the renovation, $500 million to historic Dodger Stadium at Chavez Ravine. So it's nobody expected this. But at the end of the day, the price was phenomenal. $10 billion, the highest amount of money ever paid for a professional franchise, was in the NFL. The Washington Redskins Commanders were sold to Josh Harris for $6. Mark Walter bought the legacy that is Laker basketball at $10. Money will be no object. It will no longer be a family-run operation. It is financed by Mark Walter, TVG, or TWG, and we know what corporate financing has done in terms of making the Dodgers a better organization. Just, to me, it's a fascinating story.
This just came out of left field. I mean, I didn't see this coming at all. You know, funny you call it Dysfunction Junction. You know, it's like that old Schoolhouse Rock. You know, like, what's your function, man? So, I think if you're a Laker fan, I think this is great news. I mean, because there's been a lot of question marks about Jeannie as the leader of that organization, and it seemed like previous Lakers, you know, going back to the Dr. Buss, and then who was the guy before? It was Kent Clark?
Jack Kent Cook.
Jack Kent Cook,
entrepreneur, Minneapolis Lakers, founded the LA Kings, built the Great Western Forum, but Jerry Buss moved in and bought it as Jack Kent Cook became an older gentleman, and he elected to step away from sports. And Jerry Buss's tenure is great as anybody in the league.
But you know what's interesting is all of those eras, I always think of the Lakers as being a very homegrown roster that will go out and cherry pick and get the one big dude, you know, whether it was Wilt the Stilt or it was Kareem or it was Shaq, but they wouldn't go for like 4 or 5 big name guys. You know, they went and bought one, but then they drafted well and had a good organization and they surrounded them with talent. The Jeannie Buss era has been a failure at doing that.
I think so. The last great homegrown Laker, Kobe Bryant, a long time ago. That was a Jerry West acquisition, and Jerry was the tail end of the Jerry Buss operation. And Magic Johnson came on board, and that did not work out, and they've gone through GMs and coaches, etc. You're right. I mean, you reflect back on the greatness of the Lakers. Magic, draft pick, homegrown. James Worthy, homegrown. You go way back. Jerry West, Elgin Baylor, Gail Goodrich, all homegrown.
Yeah.
So, new era coming. It's going to be fascinating to see what the Lakers become under Mark Walter compared to what they've been in the recent years under Jeannie Buss. And I like Jeannie. I've interviewed her a number of times, had good working relationship with her when I was doing sports talk radio. But at the end of the day, scoreboard does not lie. Look at where your franchise is now compared to where it used to be. There have not been any trophies nor any jerseys hung up there, with the exception of one championship in the COVID season. So this fascinating story.
Now, do you think like Jerry Buss is up in heaven somewhere? Do you think he's smiling, or do you think he's a little bit upset?
They're going to bring back the legacy of what it was.
And his daughter's making bank. I mean, that asset's really cashed in.
Well,
I got to think he's happy right now.
I think so too. And we'll just see what the end result is. But that scoreboard does not lie. That scoreboard at Dodger Stadium is a prime example of who Mark Walter and TWG is, and Guggenheim is owner of the Dodgers. Look at what they've become in the last 12 years.
Oh, God. Now we're going to be going Lakers, 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 with this good management. So, yeah, they got money. They got the backing. Good for them.
Okay, you're an NBA fan, somebody who's a Lakers fan. Jump on the Lakers line in the fans forum chat box. Give us an opinion. Want to hear what you got to say about that. We're not done with basketball. We got other topics here, John.